now 6 o'clock on July 14th. We're going to call this meeting to order. Ms. Greer, please call the roll.
Clark.
Here.
Copeland. Here. Elvin. Madison.
Here.
Scott. Here. Herman Tanks.
Here.
And Tyler.
Here. Okay, we have the agenda before us. Does anyone have any issues with this agenda? Issues? Yes.
Well, I'll just wait till you get the consent.
Okay, so, all right, so the agenda has been approved.
Yeah, she did, she said without any objection.
Right, okay, thank you. Now we're gonna, go to the consent agenda, right?
Yeah.
Okay, as it's been presented to us, any objection to that?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So on the consent agenda, item 3A, it says the meetings, the minutes of the special meeting and the regular meeting. In the regular meeting, I wanted to move those minutes in regards to when the president had stated that I couldn't vote separately on the personnel action report when it was done so in the past according to Robert's Rules of Order. So I wanted to move that part of the minutes out to rescind my vote.
You haven't voted on the minutes as yet.
She said the agenda was approved, and then she said that now we were on consent agenda.
Yes, but you haven't approved the consent agenda.
Okay,
as yet.
understood. So I'll wait till she approved the consent agenda.
So do we have any,
Can I say something? So if you approve the consent agenda, you're automatically approving the minutes. So what she's saying, what I'm hearing Dawn say is she wants to pull the minutes out from the consent agenda
For discussion?
for discussion. So I would probably move those to later down in the agenda as a topic to discuss, then you could pass the agenda.
We really don't need to move it. I could just do it right now. Because it doesn't take a vote or anything, it just takes a discussion.
okay.
What, I don't
No,
understand.
go right ahead.
Are you taking the minutes from the agenda, from the consent agenda?
I was moving in the regular meeting, the minutes, before it's approved, I wanted to move the minutes in regards to the vote on the personnel action report, because at the last meeting, the president had stated that I could not vote separately. I had to vote for it all. So I was moving that out to correct it.
I'm totally confused.
So, okay. So you want to change your vote?
Absolutely. I want to rescind the
So-
vote based on the fact that how he handled that was incorrect.
Okay,
So,
but I think what Pat presents is the minutes that were discussed, right? Because when
Correct.
you do the
Correct.
minutes, you're just taking the discussions that are being had and producing it.
but it's in the minutes when, okay, go ahead. I got the minutes when she sent it to us, but go ahead, because I'll just pull it up. I'll pull it up. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and continue. And then I guess I'll just come back, as you say, it was going to be moved somewhere in.
To action items?
So you want...
So you don't want to vote on the minutes tonight, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
The regular minutes, yes.
Okay, so why don't we move the minutes down?
Okay.
okay? And then when we get there, she could have the discussion and we'll all vote on it.
Yep.
All right, so item 3A. 7F.
Where do you want to move it to, Pat?
Why don't we move it to after action 7E, so to become action
Make it 7F.
item 7F.
Okay. All right, so then we will move to item number 4, presentations.
No, so now you could approve the consent agenda because you moved it out. Now you could approve everything else in there.
But the personnel action report, I also had a question about. We didn't do B. So,
Okay. Okay. So, the personnel action report, July 14, 2025. Does anyone have any objections to that?
That's today.
I just wanted to have it moved out of the agenda.
You want to do what to it?
I just wanted it to be moved. I had a discussion.
You want to move 3A and B?
Correct.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, now we'll move on to item 4, presentations. We have a plant-based dinner presentation by Asha McElroy.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Hi.
All right, can everybody see my screen? Yes, okay, great. Again, good evening. My name is Asha McElroy. Ecstatic to be here before you all today. I hope you all are full from the dinner. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. I know we have mixed reviews, but thanks for trying. As I tell the students, I'm just going to present a few reflections that we had from this entire project. We started in, I came in February of this year, and I have been a registered dietitian for about a year now, so this is my life. I am plant-based, so I'm just happy to share it with the students of Oak Park, and we can get into what we did. We received $250,000 from the Michigan Department of Education, so truly grateful for them for entering into that lottery system and being selected to roll out this program. We received support for implementing plant-based meals within the cafeterias within Oak Park schools. So that was taste tests and getting involved with the students, understanding what they like. So it was a multifaceted project, and our focus really was on nutrition, helping the students to understand why this is important, why they can potentially implement this lifestyle as an adult, as well as really understanding what they like, what they want to see, what they're already familiar with, so that plant-based eating is not this big thing that they don't want to try at all. And finally, really focusing on the environmental benefits of plant-based eating and how that compares to folks that maybe choose to eat animal-based products. So we did 5 different taste tests from February all the way through May, and we also did Meatless Mondays. So Meatless Mondays allowed for us to get into the cafeteria and separate ourselves from the focus group that we work with and really engross ourselves in the entire student population, especially at Einstein Elementary. So it was exciting to build relationships with the students, really understand what their likes and dislikes are, and then we were able to make refinements based on their likes and dislikes. Additionally, we did the parent-teacher conference. Here you can see we served plant-based mac and cheese samples. We got great reviews there, and then we had a farmer's market, which was amazing. We received great feedback from the students, the staff, and the admin, as well as field day. We made sure we had a presence at each event so that they weren't forgetting that this plant-based project does not start and end in the cafeteria, it goes outside of that. Additionally, we just wanted to kind of show, once we were able to do the taste test and the students approved the recipes that we were looking for with the 80% approval rating, we actually moved those recipes onto the menu for the different cafeterias within Oak Park schools. So specifically, we really focused on elementary schools, and then we moved into high schools, and we're doing that now during the summer program. But in April, we served more than 1,400 plant-based entrees. Again, we continuously refine these recipes, making small tweaks so that the mouthfeel, the flavor, the texture was what the students liked and desired and wanted to come back for more. And then additionally, just making sure that we worked with the staff to make sure they were confident, because it's different cooking plant-based eating from their traditional style that they're probably used to. Finally, marketing. So we had stickers that, of course, the elementary school students really loved. We did a comic book that included all the recipes that the students are going to be trying, that they tried this past quarter and in the fall. And then we have affirmation cards that are coming in the fall, similar to what they already received through Mood Boost. We have Plant Boost. So again, making sure our presence is heard and known within the cafeteria and outside. Next steps, we're going to continue to rotate our options that we have, that were selected by the students with the 80+ approval rating. We'll continue to present our project for local, the local School Nutrition Association, and then for the Michigan Department of Education, they have a joint conference that they do. So just getting the word out about what we did, why we did it, and how we did it, so that other school districts can kind of replicate in their own way this project. So we thank you so much for your time and attention. I know I have 5 minutes, but I can maybe take a few questions too, if there are any. Any questions?
I actually didn't have well, I had one question. What was the favorite out of all the meals you served? What was the most you made to know the best?
So the chicken and waffles achieved like 99% approval rating, which with this, the student population that we're serving was not super surprising. They love the Impossible plant-based nuggets and then the waffle we served on the side. So it's served as breakfast or a brunch option. So
Thank you. I wanted to just go back on the catching of the comic and the slogan is cool. I like that.
thank you so much.
That literally draws, you know, the children in to say, oh, you know, this is something I probably want to try.
Right, exactly. So now I want to bring up Principal Sarah. She was like the principal of our pilot school. We did a lot of work at Einstein. We did our field day, our farmers market. So we want you to come on up. We have something special, so you can stand right over here. So I didn't get it for you. So this is the plaque. It's for you. So just highlighting kind of everything we did. We really appreciate you for just having an open mind, your collaborative spirit. It was truly a pleasure to work with you, so thank you. Thank you. And now I'll bring up, if you want to say anything, go ahead.
I will say a couple things.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you in operations for the opportunity for Einstein and our students. The students really loved it. We picked a fifth grade and a fourth grade classroom. It really empowered them to have student voice, not just in our school, but in our food service department. They took that very, very seriously. If you would see them taste testing, answering the survey about the food that they liked, and then when it actually got served in the cafeteria, how proud they were that they had an impact on the whole entire student body and food options that were provided to them. Having them at parent-teacher conferences, the families loved the taste testing. The farmers market was just truly amazing and beautiful, and every single student in the whole school went home with a bag of just the prettiest fruits and vegetables, but also really good tasting fruits and vegetables, and the families and the students were so thankful for that. And then at field day, also the comic book and the pickle pops, the pickle popsicles they were good. The kids liked them. They were great. So I truly appreciate the opportunity provided to Einstein, and I really hope that we get to continue on this journey because it was amazing. So thank you.
So I'm going to bring up Austin now. He has a few words to say. And then we also, I can't forget to mention our Chartwell's representatives that are here and collaborated with us on this work.
So I just want to thank everybody from Oak Park that helped us try these menu items, these recipes. We sampled a lot of, did a lot of tastings with you guys in the admin building. Thank you, Andrew, for all of your help and support. Sharice was there too, and Tiffany, thank you for operations.
Elementary school age children are typically
All right, and I also want everyone to know that we'll be going to the SNAP meeting in August to talk to all the other food service departments in Oakland County to go over the plant-based menus, items, and how it worked out. And they're going to take some new ideas, put it in their districts. And I want to thank Oak Park for letting us trailblaze this pilot program off for all the other schools. And just want to say thank y'all for trying everything as well. So
So now we have our documentary. It's about 10 minutes long, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. They'll be documenting the entire project.
When it comes to eating fruits and vegetables, elementary school age children are typically not very excited. But what if one school used $250K and science to turn student reactions to plant-based foods from and what if those recipes were healthy, affordable, and something you could try at home too? Before we get into how this happened, we've got to go back to where this $250K actually came from. And what was it actually used for?
So the $250,000 came from the state legislator. It was between Oak Park School District and Kentwood, and that was to roll out a plant-based program, both in our own way.
The goal is to find 5 new student-approved plant-based recipes over 5 days of taste tests. Each day, students will use a scorecard to rate 3 to 5 dishes based on look, smell, taste, and whether they actually want to eat it for lunch. A recipe needs an 80% approval rating from the students to make the cut. The first 5 recipes to hit that goal will be added to the school lunch menu. Earlier this week, we were testing the recipes. We were going to make sure everything works well. And Austin had the great idea to do this three-step breading for the cauliflower. I said I'll do the same thing for the tofu after Googling, okay, will it even crisp up? The staff actually liked it. They said that was like top 2. The cauliflower and the tofu were neck and neck. So today we're going to see what the kids say. So this is what it's up to the kids and what they think, not what the adults think. Yeah, okay. So my name is Asha. Today you are going to get to try 3 different recipes. These recipes are plant-based recipes. So, first you're going to get to try a baked potato bowl. This baked potato bowl is going to come with chili inside and cheese on top.
I thought it looked really good. And actually, it didn't look like it was just plant-based. The chili looked like chili. It looked like any chili that you would eat. And it looked good, it smelled good, actually, really too. And when the students started eating, I could tell that a lot of them really liked it. So, that's good.
Tofu is imitating chicken. Most kids like chicken or fish as a protein. And we're just trying to provide the tofu as a plant-based option. So to not scare them away from trying it or have them yuck our yum, we're just breading it and including it with the sweet sauce that they potentially will like and appeals to their taste buds. We're going to turn our page over to number 3. Guess what that is? After seeing the positive responses that came from the baked potato bowl and the mixed reviews that came from the sweet and sour tofu, we realized that of the 3 options, there was no clear winner. Some students said, which one was the best? And other students said, my favorite was the baked potato bowl. But the results showed that none of the 3 would be making it onto the school's lunch menu. So we took all of this information and used it to strategize our dishes for day number 2.
The first test, I think it went well, but I think we didn't have the time a chance to go over the game plan once we got in there, so we kind of winged that one. But this time we have a plan, we know what we're doing. So I'm more confident today than I am last week because we got a chance to see what happens when you don't do it right and what's going to happen when you do it right.
what I noticed when looking through the scorecard, a lot of the students in the classroom verbally said that they liked the food, but then when they rated it, that rating didn't translate to them actually liking the dishes. So making sure that they understand which number they're selecting and why is kind of my goal for today. These are chickpea smash burgers, and we're testing out, one recipe has flour and all the spices, and another recipe has chickpeas, old corn that's been broken down, and now we're gonna see which one forms the burger, the consistency, and the flavors that we're looking for. All right, did everyone answer number one?
What did you think?
Mac and cheese, where our sauce was made out of vegetables. As you can see, it looks very similar, it's very saucy, and the kids have been loving it so far.
The moment of truth. Yeah, there we go. What did you think about the pizza? Well, what was good? 10 out of 10 on the pizza? Let me see it.
It's not the right type of bread. Why you should use hamburger bread. This is not hamburger bread. This is like wheat bread. Right now. That's not bad. That's not even bad. It's decent. This stuff is good though. Well, it was good or whatever. So all these are solid. And yeah, so like this is good, like. But where the bread at? Where you gonna put the bread? But you know, let me try it. That's going to school.
Fueled by the success of our first 3 testing days, we enthusiastically charged into the final 2. We worked on making foods that kids already liked, like our burrito bowl, even better. We also used their ideas to make some totally new dishes. After all 5 days of testing were done, it was time to look at the scores and find the final winning recipes. Now wait, with all that being said, you might still be thinking, that's cool for school, but how would I try plant-based meals at home? And why should I?
In order for a family to introduce a healthier food item into their family that is also budget friendly, my biggest suggestion would be to try to incorporate more beans.
It's a plant-based protein, so anytime you're eating a meal, you want your protein, you want your carbohydrate, you want your fruit and vegetables, and you may have dairy or a milk alternative.
One of the most common misconceptions is that going plant-based is more expensive than eating on a normal diet, but it's really not, because the price of meat goes up, it always fluctuates. The price of like lentils or the price of beans or the price of those things, they stay the same for the most part. When you make a grocery list, you know exactly how much you're spending every week if, let's say, if you was on a plant-based diet.
Implementing a plant-based lifestyle has numerous benefits, but 3 proven benefits include maintaining a healthy weight, strengthening your heart, and helping to control your blood sugar. And there you have it. At the end of the day, it was all about taste, appearance of food, and student preferences or their familiarity with samples served. Here are the top 5 plant-based dishes as rated by the students. Coming in at number 5 was the veggie chili and baked potato. 4th place went to the veggie supreme wrap. In 3rd, the mashed potato bowl. 2nd place was our plant-based mac and cheese. overwhelming favorite with a massive 97% approval rating was our chicken and waffles. But the taste tests weren't all that we did. For the project finale, we partnered with Tom McCary and Son to host a school farmers market, testing students' plant-based food knowledge as they shop for themselves. We weren't sure if students would like beans or chickpeas, but after refining our recipes several times, we were able to produce 5 plant-based recipes that the students learned to love. And a special thank you to everyone who made this project possible. Thanks so much for watching.
That's it, thank you all.
Okay, thank you for that wonderful presentation. We're gonna go to item number 5, reports. 5A, Mr. Superintendent, do you have any?
No, not at this time.
All right, we'll move to item 6, public participation. Mr. Hamilton.
My card. My card must have fell out. Where's my card?
Want me to get you?
Yes, please. I think it fell out of here. All my stuff fell out of my card, and I didn't pick it up. I'm gonna memorize it.
That's a lot too.
Yeah, it is a lot.
There's a lot on here.
I got it. Thank you. It's a fly. Thank you, sweetie. Public comment. Public to comment. Because the Oak Park Board of Education values public meetings, not just meetings in public, we welcome comments on school issues. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due process for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by public comments. The public comment portion of the meeting cannot be used to make personal attacks against a school board member or a school district employee that disrupt the order of the meeting and are totally unrelated to the manner in which the member or employee performs his or her duties. Speakers should be aware that if statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, such comments may result in legal liability. Most comments can be concisely stated in 3 minutes, and the board respectfully asks that comments remain focused on the topic or issue and not be directed at a specific personnel or board members.
Okay, do we have any public participation? Okay, we will move to item 7. Action items, 7A, acceptance of food service contract, Chartwell's 1-year renewal. Anyone want to read it?
Whereas the Board of Education has a food service contract with yearly rate increases, and whereas the contract says the rates increase by 3% without rounding up, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the following changes for the 2025-2026 school year. Management fee per meal changes from 0.0550 to 0.0566. Administrative fee changes from $8,100 to $8,343. This agreement shall be in effect for 1 year from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026.
Any seconds?
Second.
All right, motion made by, what's your name?
Clark.
Trustee Clark, seconded by, who was that? Ms. Tyler?
Tyler.
Trustee Tyler? Ms. Green?
Clark,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Perryman Tanks,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes. We're gonna move to item 7B, approval of OPA bleacher replacement project. Anyone want to read that one?
Again, resolved that the Oak Park Board of Education accepts the administration's recommendation to approve the awarding of contracts for the OPA bleacher replacement project as follows. Was it Intercal or Intercal?
Intercal. Yep.
for bleacher replacement services in the amount of $146,117, inclusive of a 10% contingency. Great Lakes Power and Lighting for electrical services in the amount of $29,700, inclusive of a 10% contingency. Be it further resolved that the total project cost shall not exceed $175,817, and the project is scheduled to begin in December 2025 and be completed by January of 2026.
Any questions on that motion? Second. Motion made by Trustee Scott, seconded by Trustee Clark. Ms. Greer?
Tyler?
Yes. I'm sorry, yes.
Perriman Tanks?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Madison?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
And who did I miss?
Scott? Yes.
Okay, that motion passes. We'll move to item 7C, approval of district-wide Cisco phone licensing renewal. Would anyone like to read that?
I'll read it. Resolved that the Board of Oak Park Board of Education accepts the administration.
Hold on.
Am I on the right one?
You're on the right one.
Yeah.
Administration's recommendation to approve the awarding of the district-wide Cisco phone licensing renewal and enhancements project to Logicalis. Yep, okay. In the amount of $159,518.62. Be it further resolved that the district will manage a project contingency fund of $5,000 to cover any unanticipated scope modifications, bringing the total project amount to $100,064. 500. Why I can't get this out? $164,518.62.
Any questions on that motion? Yes?
I second it.
Okay.
Oh, then she goes. Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, go.
No, I have to wait till she gets to the discussion.
Okay, so, made by Trustee Perriman Tanks, seconded by Trustee Tyler. Ms. Greer, please.
What questions?
Questions?
Jim, I just wanted to ask, or maybe you may have the answer to this. The first contract we had was for 4 years. Why is this one 5 years?
Tiffany?
I can look into that and let you know.
Okey dokey. Oh, Jim.
Yeah.
We joined, the first one we did was pre-existing with Oakland, and we bought into it, and it was the remainder of their original contract. So if they originally had a 5-year, we bought into it for the 4-year mark, because that's when we onboarded, then the new one is 5 years. That's why.
Ms. Greer?
Scott?
Yes.
Tyler?
Yes.
Madison?
Yes.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Perriman Tanks?
Yes.
And Clark?
Yes.
Okay. That is approved. We're gonna move to item 7D, designation of meeting dates, Oak Park Board of Education. Anybody would like to read that?
Resolve that the Oak Park Board of Education hereby approves the schedule of public meetings for the 2025-2026 school year as submitted and referenced in this meeting.
Does anybody have any questions? All right, anybody would like to second that motion?
I'll second.
Motion made by Trustee Clark, seconded by Trustee Scott.
Corcoran?
Yes.
Perriman Tanks?
Yes.
Clark?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Madison?
Yes.
And Tyler?
Yes.
Okay, that motion is approved. We're gonna move to item 7E, approval of board members' attendance at the Michigan Association of School Boards, MASB 2025 Summer Institute. Anybody would like to read that?
Again, resolve that the board members Dawn Corcoran and Heather Perriman Tinks Be approved to attend the MASB 2025 Summer Institute to be held August 15th through the 16th, 2025. In Lansing, Michigan, approved expenses should include registration, mileage, lodging, and meals.
All right, so that motion was made by trustee Scott, seconded by trustee Clark. Any questions on the motion? Okay, Ms. Rowe.
Perriman Tanks,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
and Clark.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
that motion is approved. We're gonna go to item 7F, which is the minutes of the special meeting and regular meeting for June 23rd, 2025.
Not the special meeting, I believe it's.
It's the regular meeting. I gave you good copies of that motion. And that motion can be taken back off the floor because it was voted on by the board.
Okay,
That
well,
item. It was voted on by the board.
I understand that, but my issue is, before it was voted on, it was improper because I was told that I couldn't vote on it separately.
Then that's something you need to bring back to the board.
Exactly.
So,
That's
but
what-
this one, you can't take this off.
Okay, well,
What you're
I
asking
moved
for is
maybe,
something
I had
new.
to take it off the agenda, the consent agenda, to bring it back for,
No,
you're
you
saying
didn't
I can't
have
do
to.
that?
No, you didn't have to. You're making a brand-new motion. This was approved by the board. You voted
So I
on it
wouldn't amend
yourself.
that motion?
What is, you voted on this yourself. This is what you want to bring back to the board right now. This is what you're asking to bring back. Something that you voted on, the board voted on unanimously. And you want to bring this back. You can't do that. What you could do is make another motion. But for right now,
You don't?
you still need to vote on this now that you've taken it off.
Okay, I did research on this, but if that's what you said, we'll go with it. But what I was told was opposite of what you're saying, but we will go with what you're saying, and I will continue to next meeting and put it on the agenda then, I guess.
I
Right.
would suggest you do that.
I sure will.
Okay,
But
So I think now.
But for now, you have to
vote.
vote on the consent agenda.
well, no, because we still have moved the personnel report, right?
right.
But I thought your personnel issue had to do with the minutes.
So if we put, okay, so we just said that we're putting this to vote, what are we voting on right now? Point of order. What are we voting on right now?
To approve consent agenda, correct?
Correct.
For just that, right?
For the items that's under the consent agenda.
That's right.
Well then, but I wanted to have a discussion for a personnel action report.
Right, that's what's next.
Oh, you see, that's what I just said. I thought you said that everything was.
So you want to separate them.
Okay, so you got through the
You could
minutes.
separate them, you could
Right,
vote on the
from now,
minutes,
7G.
and then you could then vote, discuss your personnel, right?
So with 7F, are we,
So you would have to vote 7F, move 7G, and make that the personnel discussion,
7G.
right?
No, it
There's
should be.
no discussion.
We did
It's
make
been
a
voted
decision.
on. There's no discussion on this. The
But
board,
they don't have to vote on the
No,
minutes?
she's saying
Yeah.
basically it stands what it stands. I'm sorry, point of order is that it stands what it stands based on the way that it was, the motion was voted on, but I was rescinding my vote. I
you
had-
can't do that.
Okay, so that's fine. So then now, I was gonna move B, which is,
so 7G?
which was, well, she said, she put them both together, but okay.
Okay.
So we would go to 7G if there is one. Is
But
there
we
a
still,
7G?
don't we still have to vote on the agenda? So
Yes.
don't we still have to vote on, because it's two separate things, am I correct? If it's two
Right.
separate
Do you
things.
want
so
to
we
do a
still have to
revote?
vote.
But they're
The
both,
minutes and the
Just
personnel,
vote
they
on the
both will
consent
vote on
agenda.
separate.
Just vote on the consent agenda. Because it's all under the consent agenda,
Okay.
A and B.
But I do have a discussion on the personnel report, so we'll just move that by itself then?
They was separate, she did the F and the G.
no, No, they're both.
You're talking about the personnel action for
Motion.
tonight, or are you talking about the?
For tonight, yes.
Okay, then that's separate, right?
Right, so for 7F, are we
Approving
voting?
the minutes for the special meeting and the regular meeting. And then 7G would be the personnel actions.
Gotcha. So, approval of
Consent agenda.
consent, but isn't it two different ones?
No,
Consent agenda
it's all
A.
under the same thing. Consent agenda is your personnel action and your minutes.
Right, but she got questions about the personnel, agenda, action, right?
She has a question about the personnel action for tonight's agenda, or she has a personnel action.
No, for
question,
tonight's agenda, for actual,
Which is July 14th.
Correct.
Okay, that's different than this.
yes.
Okay,
Right.
so we're voting on the agenda,
Okay,
consent agenda.
okay. Can you call the roll, please?
She said
And you
no.
really don't need a vote because it's a consent agenda.
Okay, so by
Okay, so-
unanimous consent,
Right.
we agree.
Mhm.
So that is passed. Yes. 7G, personnel actions for July 14, 2025. Trustee Corcoran?
Thank you, Madam President. I have a question in regards to the personnel. I just saw some of them are lateral moves. I see that the salary is the same, and the proposal salary is the same. So my question was, when we are making those moves that are not lateral moves, just looks like they were just going from one place to another. So what about the ones that are actually changing their title, like one of, say, social studies going to ELA?
Can you just cite the number?
3 is one.
So they're changing, switching assignments. So you would have to approve it because that wasn't their original assignment. So we're seeking board approval for this transition or transfer.
So those jobs that they're moving out of, those jobs are going to become available, or are we moving other people in?
So for example, 2 and 3. So those assignments, one teacher, so number 2 is moving to an open vacancy. And then number 3, that teacher is moving into the vacancy that is left behind by number 2.
Oh, that's how they go. Okay.
But not in this situation.
No, yeah, but because I was, that was the only part that I saw. I didn't really go into, really digging that hard to what that spot was. But I see it's like a tic-tac-toe only because from the way that it's listed. I didn't look at that part. So then, but that's not for all of them though, right? That was just for that one?
Right.
Okay. So let's say, for the instance, the number 8, going from the same status, but I guess she's just moving into another.
So 7 and 8.
Oh, so those are together.
So
Because when I read it, it doesn't have an explanation, so if you beg my pardon if I look or seem
No,
to
it's
be
okay.
confused.
I don't have a problem explaining it. So for example, number 7.
Yeah.
That individual was at the current location, which is listed, right?
Oh, I see. Then the one underneath, okay, pick that up.
Correct.
Okay, and then the one, okay, then number 8 picked up
7. So they're
Okay.
essentially swapped.
Sorry, I didn't play that
Transferring and
tic-tac-toe game. See, I just was looking at, that's why you gotta ask questions, because you gotta know. Okay, I get it. Because, I knew it was gonna be, just a move around, but I was just wondering, because I didn't look at the format of which school, so, okay, that makes sense, very,
And
very well.
in each of the cases, these individuals requested to transfer.
Gotcha. Thank you very much, because it was a lot, so that's why I was,
No
I
problem.
had that many openings, but, all right, thank you.
Okay, any more questions?
I have a question. Regarding number 6, so I see that this particular person is going from very specific branch and moving to something completely different, is that necessarily allowed?
Yes.
in a sense?
And in this case, the individual requested a transfer to an open position.
So is that going to be filled by someone that may be already in district, or are we going to pursue someone for that position?
So as it stands right now, it is a vacancy and it's posted.
That's all I have.
Okay, so now we're gonna approve the consent agenda
question.
by, oh, sorry, I'm so sorry,
Okay.
I apologize.
So with the salary, I think my question is, with the salary, were these salaries already in place? They're just switching?
Yes,
That's all
so just switching positions, these individuals are currently a part of the union,
Okay,
so they'll just progress to the next step
okay.
for the current school year. So it's the same, it's no salary change.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any more questions? Okay, so now we're gonna approve the consent agenda as it's been presented to us. Any objection? Ms. Greer, please, we're gonna do it by unanimous consent. Okay? All right.
Well, I'm sorry, point of order, or excuse me, point of information. You said that we're gonna not vote on this?
Unanimous
I
consent.
mean, it wasn't nothing, okay, I was just.
You could just call for a vote, just to be safe.
Okay.
Just
Scott,
call for a vote, and
Yeah,
then
no,
you're
no,
safe.
I understand why she's called.
Yes.
Tyler,
Yes.
Madison,
Yes.
Copeland,
Yes.
Perryman Tanks,
Yes.
and Clark.
Yes.
There you go. So now you're safe either way.
Okay, we're gonna move to, item 8. Tiffany, I'll turn it over to you. Good evening.
I'm gonna turn it over to Paul with Plant Moran, give us the bond update. And the file.
There it is. Nope. Ah. Perfect, thank you. Review. Perfect. Good evening, President Mattson, board members, administration team. Again, it's great to be here. This is our quarterly board update that we do with the board since the inception of the bond going forward. So one of the things we have in the overview tonight is just what is the 21 bond program. Series 3, we're actually entering the last series of the bond, and there's some phenomenal work that's been done. We'll talk a little bit about that here shortly. We'll also have a financial overview and summary, and of course open up to any questions the board administration may have at this point. So the overview of the bond program. So in May of 2021, the residents approved a $54.4 million bond to basically take on the infrastructure work that was really required from the district's facilities assessments. The main focus was going to be heating, ventilation, air conditioning, temperature controls, electrical improvements, safety and security enhancements, technology, but most importantly, renovation of underutilized spaces. Again, there's going to be a 3-series approach to the bond, and again, right as of today, you actually have expended those bonds in compliance with the Department of Treasury. So, great job of making timely decisions from a board perspective to allow the design team and the construction team to really continue on from the 2021-22 timeframe. Just from a little bit of historical perspective, so again, the Oak Park School Board there at the top of the administration. Again, I want to commend the superintendents, facilities, and finance for their tireless work on this. So they already have their full-time jobs. But I think some of the vision they had coming into the district, like things can change within a bond, and let's take a look at that from that perspective. Myself and my other team members, Robert Stempy and Monica Coleman, they kind of round out some more of the facilities and finance, working with Ms. Cavill and Dr. Ferris and her team. Ghaffari Associates is your architect and engineer of record. Rockford Construction is actually your construction manager, and actually Ed Bloom was supposed to be here tonight, but he had an issue, which nobody's got to take care of family first. We also have technology consultants as well as environmental, so that really rounds out the bond team. We do have weekly calls. We actually have on-site visits, and then of course we have our quarterly board updates for the community and for the board perspective. By show of hands, has anyone toured the sites in the last couple of months? Okay? So again, as we start to look into some of these projects, it'd be great to get your perspective as things start to open up. So as I mentioned, it's a 3-series bond. One of the things you'll see in 22-23, the first $17.4 million went to Einstein. By the way, great presentation on the food services. That was awesome to see some of those kids and those approaches from that perspective. Pepper, Key, and then technology was a big component of that. Same thing with summer of 23. We also started taking a look at the fitness center design, and we call that the athletic training center at the high school going forward. Series 2 was $16.2 million, really focusing on the high school. Year 1 of the OPA campus, as well as design for Nova. And we're really in that green shade. So the district, right on schedule, actually sold the last $22 million of the bond. We actually sold at a slight premium, so again, just playing with the issuance and the bonds, keeping up that great spend rate going forward to really kind of final the Nova HVAC as well as the training center and athletic center going forward. So work and planning. So again, taking a look at the athletic center, the main goal is to actually try to utilize underutilized facilities. I know working with the district in 2018 and 19, we actually toured the high school, and the board members and administration said, we have this pool that's been closed for 10 years. It's cost prohibitive to reopen it. What can we imagine that to be? And again, I go back to the superintendent's office to really envision what's not happening just in Oakland County, but across the Midwest. So really taking a look at an athletic training center, something that can be used by a multitude of different programs. So one of the things you're going to see there is the conversion of that space, of taking out the pool, filling it in, and creating some great space going forward. So again, we started with designs last year. That approximate budget is $7.3 million. And again, we had a commencement this past fall. And again, thank you to the principal of the high school to help coordinate some of the access to the site to keep it safe for students and scholars and parents and community alike. Right now, as I mentioned, we're infilling the existing pool structure. We're creating a sports turf surface for that. There's a mezzanine in the upper level for walking and for running. They have some weight rooms, training rooms, etc. More importantly, the HVAC and electrical improvements for that specific area. Right now, if you take a look at the milestones, the structural steel and the concrete are complete. The masonry is also complete. The patching and painting is currently going on in the interiors. The curtain wall, the windows, which were original, have all been replaced, which is amazing. Also, the roofing, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Right now, we are targeting a turnover in the end of December, right on schedule. But more importantly, keep tuned. We're going to work with the administration about a ribbon cutting for the school board and the community members sometime in that mid-December timeframe. So what does this look like? So again, this is just some of the exterior work. In the upper middle, you can see the glazing contractors replacing the glass. On the left-hand side, you'll see these garage doors that open up into the offices, into the weight room spaces themselves. Up above, you can kind of see the little vision of the track. Underneath, you can kind of see the interior space of what are some of those spaces going to look like. More importantly, this is going to be the finished product. So right now, Ms. Campbell's working on the graphics and the imaging for it. But what you have here is a great space that can be used year-round by a multitude of different programs. And you know, at the end of the day, it's just a phenomenal asset that was not initially planned in the bond, but again, through some of the leadership of the superintendent, finance, and facilities to really create this wow space for the district and the students and the scholars. Switching gears to OPA, again, this is the electrical components. While some people think tracks and stuff are cool, Ms. Campbell thinks rooftop units and mechanical units are cool, so we're going to keep with that theme here. But it's really to create a more energy efficient mechanical electrical systems for that plumbing and mechanical systems. We are acknowledging teachers that come back August 18th, so our big push is to get the work done here quickly with minimal interruptions. And then at the Freshman Institute, again, just kind of wrapping up, again, the continuation. So we're working over the summers to minimize impact to staff and students. And of course, this is just some wonderful pictures of the new rooftop units on the roof, so you'll see cranes and things of that nature swinging those pieces of equipment throughout the summer going forward. Switching gears to the financial summary, and again, this is in your board packet, so I know it might be a little small on the screen here, but again, thank you to Dr. Ferris and her team. With Maria Gissinger, who actually came in, I think, about a year ago, really take a look at what was going on with the bond in terms of the different sales. And so one of the things you're looking at here is a total budget of about $58 million. Again, as I mentioned, you are in compliance with the Department of Treasury of spending that. We have some districts where the board struggle to make decisions, and so they potentially could experience some arbitrage. So good news is you are making timely decisions. We're not having those conversations, so that's great. And also mentioned, there were some ESSER funds and food services funds also allocated into the programs, really for the earlier programs that really focus on the cafeterias and food services throughout those programs going forward. Often we get asked how are we charging budget to actual. So actually we were able to receive some monies back from the construction manager for unused allowances and contingencies. I think in that board resolution you had the bleacher project, there's contingencies. So when you don't use those do come back to the district. And so we are tracking those dollar for dollar with the superintendent's office, finance and facilities team. Right now we're tracking very well in the athletic complex, and also same thing with mechanical. So it's a little premature to say, hey, we have all this money to sit here, what do you think? But let us get it through this fall and early winter. We'll do a secondary board update sometime towards the end of this year and give you more robust of what are those unallocated dollar amounts. But right now we're tracking very well of budgets to actuals. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to President Madison, the board, and the administration for any questions.
Any questions? Okay.
The question that I had was, seeing that we had issues with, like material, coming from other places, did we run into any of those issues?
Actually, a great example would be your purchasing for mechanical units. So if you remember 2019, 2020, this thing called COVID, the bond actually did pass like in the middle of this, so a lot of the meetings were remote. The first action that we recommended to the district was actually pre-purchase all your mechanical units for the classrooms. I believe you spent about $5.5 million purchasing those one time and creating a way to not have to order them every year. So the price escalation cost avoidance was literally hundreds of thousands of dollars. What we're doing right now with mechanical, electrical, plumbing, these are actually bid out last fall. So I said thank you to the board for making timely decisions. You're like, we're not even talking about 25, 26, what are we doing? The reason is you're locking in those prices. We actually do analyze if there's going to be any associated tariffs. I'm still going to work with legal counsel to make sure that you don't have that you have minimal impact to tariffs. So how you time the purchasing of that stuff is very important. Again, I do commend the board for making timely decisions, and usually 6 to 8 months before you even need the equipment, which helps offset some of those costs. So I know some districts, they kind of do a year-by-year approach, and they do get hit with 8 to 10% price increasing. But I think the large portion of this was mechanical. We did buy a lot of roofing at one time. But I guess the rest of it's going to be masonry paint, which is fairly local and not subject to some of those overseas tariffs that you may see.
I have one question. So, remember the last meeting we were talking about the HVAC? This is all that all the stuff that he's talking about.
Yes.
Is repairing all the stuff they had the problem with
The grant,
this past
yeah.
year. Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. So everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's 50, we're all done. Well, no, the problem is, as a district, you have 1 million square feet that needs to be maintained every 5 to 10 years. And so this is just that one component. I know we did work with the district updating the facility overall capital plan, if you will. I know the district did participate in the School Finance Research Foundation's infrastructure report. So you have some different data points as a board that you can start to think what happens next year, maybe 2 years down the road, or even 5 years down the road, of how to continue that support for facilities finance. You've done a great job with your sinking fund. So just kind of taking a look at things a little more strategically from a capital perspective. Again, you do a great job educating the kids. Now it's like, how do you maintain that learning environment, short-term and long-term for the future? So.
Any other questions? Okay, we're at item 9, communications.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any communications from administration? Okay. Any communications from the board?
I do. I have a few, because I thought you would have because on the agenda it said the superintendent remarks. Well, I had, one was, I know that in July, the test scores come back, but I know on the report, the superintendent report, we didn't have an update. So I was just wondering, was it proper to ask now, because I think it was.
We're going to do a presentation. They're working on it, and so probably in the end of August or September, you'll have teaching and learning presentation with all the data points.
Next time? You said next time?
State schools are still embargoed.
They're still embargoed, but our presentation's in September, when we do the big presentation. September, we do the big presentation with all the data points and everything.
Okay. The monthly statement, can we start having that too? And
Yeah.
So you start at the start of the year, or start fresh. So with those monthly statements, you do the month before. So you'll get your first one in October, but it'll be read in September. Yep.
Okay. Oh, we have a lot of policies that are now changing because we have a lot of things where the Supreme Court has now ruled on different things that is now letting things go ahead, right? So with our Shroom, I think it is, I know Miller Johnson, I'm sorry, I know it was two of them. So Miller Johnson, I do know that we have not, as a board, haven't received anything like what possibly can be, will be. It's waiting, for the Senate. Like, is it possible if you can please ask them if they can send us something? Because, we are all watching the news, and we don't have nothing, so that part. And I think that was what I had to talk about. Yeah.
That's it. Any other communications from the board?
I'm sorry. 4th of July. 4th of July parade was awesome. If you weren't there, you missed it. I did not get an opportunity to go to the Youth Assistance Pancake because I wasn't, I didn't know the date. So I was just wondering, is there like somebody I can call other than you to give us, know when the date is? Because I didn't hear you.
The date for what?
For the pancake breakfast.
It's on the 4th of July.
No, I get that, but I thought we would get reminded, I guess, or the time, because is the time the same too every
The
year?
term is usually the same, so the issue is, the person that was able to get into the social media pages is not able to.
Okay.
So that's the reason why there's been a lag as far as social media presence is concerned. I do know that the city shared it. If you want, I would say contact Kimberly Schaaf. She is the chairperson, the library director, for any other extra information. But as far as I remember, the time was 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock last year.
Yeah, because I just, I know as we do communication, sometimes we can't remember to, communicate with us with certain things that are happening, because we definitely know that, in October is trunk or treat. But I think if I was just something to say, hey, then it would be like, hey, yeah, I got to get up extra early. Because I know we get busy in our life and, things, but that's what I was just wondering, because I didn't know.
Any other communications from the board?
Well, I was able to go. I volunteered. I usually sell T-shirts. That's what I did. It was nice it was a great turnout. Obviously all of the mayor and the city manager and all of the key people, if you will, were there. But it was good to see the community because it's such a tradition. And a lot of people that we talked to, said that I've been doing this since I was a little kid. My parents used to bring me when I was a baby. So it's something that's very, very important to the city, and I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad that the tradition can continue to move forward. I do apologize because I intended to, in the last meeting, mention the pancake breakfast. My brain just did not work for me. But moving forward, as there are going to be any events involved that feature where it needs to be known, I can make a point of announcing it. But the pancake breakfast was great. We had a good time. I got to see former trustee Al Smith. I almost knocked him down from hugging him because I hadn't seen him since December. I was very happy to see him, and he's doing well, and he sends his love. But yeah, it was a great event. So I was happy to be a part of it.
Ms. Trustee Carter?
Yes, I enjoyed the parade, the Oak Park. It was great. I really enjoyed the Corvettes.
Man, that was really
They have grown.
Oh my God, it was over 50 Corvettes. I was in heaven, me and my grandson. And so it was great just to see the community come out, and the band was definitely phenomenal. Man, that band was phenomenal this year. And so, as well as Trustee Clark said, she got to see former board member Smith, I saw him as well, and so it was just great just to be out there amongst the community. It was a lot of people out there, just fun to see what Oak Park is doing, and just the collaboration of Oak Park, the city, and the school just collaborating is just a phenomenal thing, and that's what I love to see, don't I? I'm good. Thank you so
All
much.
right, any other communications from the board?
I do. So I want to say kudos to Chartwell for their plant-based. I saw my nephew in the video, and he never tries different foods. So to see him taste that chili baked potato was crazy. I'm gonna tell my sister. And then also I enjoyed the farmers market. I have 4 at Einstein, so I had fruits and vegetables for days, and I had my dinner planned out for about 2 weeks. So that was really great. I want to say kudos to them and to you guys for implementing that.
Any other communications from the board? Okay, we are now at item 10, adjournment. Ms. Perry takes. When will the next meeting be held?
The next meeting of the Board of Education will be held Monday, August 25th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the boardroom at the administration building.
Okay, we are now adjourned at 7:06.